Welcome everybody, my name is Divac, and alongside me here for tonight is going to be Mike Braun. We've got 50 drivers here at the iconic Suzuka International Racing Course for round 2 of the WSRL, or the Wrong Stuff League. One of the world's truly great racetracks, Suzuka has been the home of the Japanese Grand Prix since the 1980s, and its flowing layout regularly puts the circuit at near the top of its list for most Formula One drivers' favorites.
Well, it looks like we got qualifying running right now for round number 2 of Suzuka. And right now we've got the points championships. You got your winner from last week in the GT3 class, Justin Hall, taking the win in that first round. Garrett Powell was in second. He's 3 points back. 1 point behind him is Bradley Alvis in the third spot. Diego Ari in fourth. Agustin Castro in fifth. And then we work all the way down into down the line. 18th is Andrew Gardrick in the Shut Up and Drive car, 32 points, still about 22 points behind your leader, and we'll work all the way down to the 28th spot of Eric Letsky. In the LMP class, your points for LMP, your winner was Shane Larson. Last week he got the full 51 points with the fastest lap as well. Luke Mann was in second spot, and then Colin Arnold in third. The schedule this week, we are at Suzuka. Last week we ran at Barcelona. Coming up next week, we've got the Detroit Grand Prix at Belle Isle, one of my favorite street tracks. Dre, how do you feel about Belle Isle?
Belle Isle is going to be very interesting. It's going to be a really tight course, short course here with 50 drivers on track. You got LMP2 and GT3. It's going to be really interesting to see how these guys really work together to not crash into each other, because as we know, we've driven that track before. It can be a mess over there. It's kind of a bumpy track too, and you got some tight corners. It's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, especially with 2 different classes running the multi-class on a street track like that, it will add some hair on the back of your head. So we're watching a little bit of qualifying right now. We've got out on the front right now, we've got Garrett Powell in the GT3 class, 158 flat. We saw some guys running 157s earlier in practice, so let's see if they can get that going when the tires get a little warmed up. And here comes the number 57 car in the LMP class, Mr. Will Coffey. Will sitting in the 6th spot right now. His last lap was a 146.5, about a full second behind your lead spot of Colin Arnold. Down the front straight, he comes by again and into turn 1 and 2. This is a great view of the cars coming up into that S section right here, right?
Yeah, these S's are going to be tough, especially if you go too wide in here. Hopefully, these guys can keep it safe and get through here. I'm really interested to see what's going to happen at 130R. That really fast left-hand corner, just an iconic corner here at Suzuka. It's going to be interesting to see if these LMP2s can stay patient and make that move at the correct spot, especially there. I think they'll be able to get inside those GT3s as they try to keep that outside line. 130R.
Coming up on 7 minutes down in qualifying. Still got about 3 minutes left to get those last couple laps in. The race today is going to be 45 minutes long, which is roughly going to be about 30.
We're going to be able to get it with one pit stop. It's been interesting to talk to some of the drivers earlier before the start of the broadcast, is seeing if they could push the car a little further and not having to do a splash and dash here at the end of the race.
So we're on board with Stange. He's pulling it off after coming down the line. He must have completed all his laps. So right now out in front in the GT3 class, Justin Hall with his 148 flat. Garrett Powell, we were talking about him earlier. Garrett Powell is just 0.05 of a second behind. So that's a real tight top 2 there. If you can go all the way back to the top 4 spots are all in a 158. So less than half a second separating your top 4 cars right now. That's Hall, Powell, Gritsko, and Carroll. In the LMP class, Shane Larson going to continue his run that he had last week by sitting on the pole in the LMP class right now. Colin Arnold in second, Luke Mann in third. Dre, what do you think about it? Do you think we're going to get repeat winners this week, or what are you feeling?
I think so. Shane and Justin are just kind of a little bit ahead of everybody in their respective classes. I know Shane last week had a really big win. I think he won by a pretty large margin. So it's going to be interesting to see if we can get some of these guys, especially in the LMP2 class, to keep up with Shane and maybe push him to make a mistake maybe later on in the race. I do see Garrett Powell in the second, and then we got Christian Gritzko and Braden Carroll there, and then we also got Diego Era, which we know him and Augustine are going to have some battles, and they're just two places away from each other with Brandon, and they're mixing it up. So it's going to be fun to see what these guys are going to be able to do today. I'm hoping to see a little bit closer racing today, especially at those top spots. So I'm hoping somebody can fight Shane and Justin, and I'm thinking Garrett Powell is going to have a good chance to start this race off in the GT3 class.
So your starting order, your grid for the LMP class on the pole is going to be Shane Larson in the 117 car, qualifying with a 145.4. And in the second spot goes to the 72 car of Colin Arnold. In the third spot, car number 82, Luke Mann. And on the outside of row number 2, the car number 88 of Samuel Measle. In the third row, Tyler Davila in the car number 11. And on the outside of the third row, Aubrey Kundrell in the 653. Will Coffey's going to be on the inside of row number 4 in the 57. Then Justin Diebaum in the outside row in 419. Nick Ebby in the ninth spot on the inside of the 5th row. On his outside is going to be Jamie Southwell and Kansas Gentry in the back all by himself. How about GT3, Dre?
GT3s, we got Justin Hall seeing that pole position one more time. Right behind him in second place, we're going to have Garrett Powell. In the second row, we're going to have Christian Gritzko, followed by Braden Carroll in that number 74 car. We also got in the 5th spot, Diego Era. In 6th, we have Brandon Johnson. And in 7th, we got Agustin Castro. And in 8th, we're going to have Jeremy Boucher. And in 9th, we're going to have Jake Luther. In 10th, who had actually a really good start last week, Matthew Duder is starting in 10th. Billy Bowerman is going to be in 11th. Bradley Alvis in 12th. As we move on to the next row, 13, we got Andrew Gajdarik in the 13th spot, Bjorn Stange in the 14th spot, Jay Fuller in the 15th spot. In that number 78 car, we got Joshua Benjamin in 16th. We got Kevin Madiada in an 18 car at 17. In 18th spot, we got Kevin Ayers. 19th, we got Chris Foth. This is a very, very large grid. We're going to move on here, and rounding out the ending here, we're going to have Brett DiGiacomo, Kenneth Michael, Zachary Sternhagen, Gary Schilling, and Lilac Zier to start this race. We are in the rolling start here at the round 2 Suzuka WSRL.
It looks like everybody's getting started on the back straightaway coming over the bridge past into the chicane right now. So it's going to be a good, clean start for these guys. Let's see what we can do.
I know the administrators have asked them the GT3s to stay back 10 seconds so the LMP2s can get a little bit of a head start. So we're going to see here, we're heading into that final corner.
And here they come down the front straightaway. Take it away, Dre.
Pace cars in. We got Shane Larson. That's start. We're actually over into the GT3s where they're bunched up already heading into that final corner. They're going to be starting passing that start-finish line back into the LMP2. Shane Larson's already got a 5/10 gap on Luke Mann and Colin Arnold to round out your top 3 of the LMP2s. He's going to take a little bit of inside. He's going to hit a little bit of grass heading into turn number 3.
Looks like everybody's starting to file in single file in the LMP class. Everybody's taking their spots. Larson out in front, pulling away just a little bit on Luke Mann. Colin Arnold settling in that 3rd spot. Samuel Measle in 4th. Tyler Davila in the 5th spot. And back in the GT3s, these guys are getting sorted out. They should be coming out of that S section now. Here they come with Justin Hall out in front. Garrett Powell in 2nd. Braden Carroll running in 3rd. Here we go in on board with Garrett Powell. Coming to turns 8 and 9. Good tight section underneath the bridge. And we're coming to that hairpin section in 11. That could get a little hairy with 30 some odd cars back there. Here we come into that hairpin section. Your leader is still Justin Hall with Garrett Powell right behind him in the Audi.
Looks like everybody stayed clean through the hairpin as well. That's good to see. Justin Hall now pulling a 6/10 gap here on Garrett. And Garrett's getting a little bit of draft here. He's going to be pulling up just a little closer. Going to be interesting to see what these guys are going to be able to do with Justin Hall. He's just been super quick last round and already showing off today that he's got pace to lead this class.
This is a great view to be able to show the entire field. And you can also see where the LMPs were. They were already around the spoon and down the back straightaway when the GT3s were coming. Here comes the LMPs to buy for their first lap. Shane Larson still out in front by that half second on Luke Mann. No change in lineup right now. Larson, Mann, Arnold, and Measle, your top four. They're starting to pull away from Tyler Davila just a little bit. Will Coffey right behind him. That is your battle for the 5th and 6th spot. Will Coffey looking for a place to get by Tyler. Here we go on board with Will Coffey. 105 miles an hour through these S's right now. Lifts just a little bit, get down to about 85, and here they come into turn 7. This could be a good breaking point coming up here in that 8 and 9 section. Or you could be waiting off for that hairpin at 11. So here they come into 8. 130 miles an hour when he slams on the brakes. All on the back door. Oh, he looks like he overshot it just a little bit. Oh, Will Coffey on the outside. Coming on the inside is Barrera to take over that 6th spot now. Barrera up into 6, Kundrell up into 7. Let's get a replay of this, Dre. What do they look like?
Yeah, he just overshoots the corner, missed his apex, and he's going to be outside. He's going to try to get back inside and not make any damage to any of the cars as he rejoins the track. So good on Will Coffey to get back on track safely and not cause any more collisions.
Here they come around your favorite turn, coming up on your favorite turn here soon. What do you think these LMP cars are going to be like when they come through that 130R?
Man, I'd love to be right there when these cars go flying by, because they're insane when they go by there. If you've ever been or even watched this track with these cars flying by, it's just absolutely insane how fast they can take this corner. The GT3 is having a little more rough. I have seen a couple spin outs today by the LMP2s as well, so it's going to be a corner of importance today, I think, here at Suzuka.
Coming into the chicane and down the front straight to complete lap number 3. Shane Larson still out in front in the LMPs, but right now we've got your focus on the battle for 8th, 9th, and 10th. Hey. Oh, we're coming to a replay of that car that was a little slow on the front straightaway. Looks like Gucci coming through. Let's see what happens coming out of the chicane. Oh, spins out coming into pit lane, tags that wall and gets stuck in the middle of pit lane. That could be a little hairy, especially on colder tires. Track temp wasn't too high, so I don't, maybe he just got a little too heavy on the throttle, but it can happen to the best of us.
Yeah, absolutely can.
Go ahead, Dre.
No, it absolutely can. We know how these cars can get finicky all the time. We talk about it last race, that traction control kicks in. It's just tough. It's tough to control. Once that traction control wants to kick in, it's hard to control. So these guys got to be really gentle with their inputs so to keep that car stable, so we're not kicking in any ABS or traction control.
So here's your battle right now for the 5th spot in GT3. Diego Era in that flamethrower McLaren. Every time they let off, that thing just spits fire out of it. It's just so awesome to watch. And it's a little mesmerizing when you're behind them on a track too, so it can throw you off a little bit. So it could be a game plan for them. As you can see, the LMP cars going over the top of the bridge right now. So they're going to have to be about a half a lap ahead of these guys already. But here's your battle for that 5th and 6th spot. Diego Era, and guess who's behind him, Dre?
Augustine Castro, of course. These guys, like I said, we've talked about it before. The battle is going to be insane this whole season. So it's going to be fun to watch these guys. I'd love to head over to On Board with Matthew Duder, who started 10th. We got an accident up really bad rejoin. I think that was Diego Era, I think, made a mistake there. Or was that Hall? Oh, no, I'm sorry.
That was Justin Duder.
Hall. No, Justin Hall with the mistake. He's back in the 4th right now. I might be mistaken. I'm not sure exactly who wrecked there, but it looks like Justin Hall, who was leading this race, is now in the 4th place. He's actually
Diego's spinning out.
Diego's losing it in 130R. We talked about it. 130R is. Let's go back and take a look at Diego Era and see what happens here. Oh, he just loses it, unfortunately, into 130R. They do have a fast repair, so he should be able to get back into the pits and get right back out on the track pretty quickly. But we're going to be on board Matthew Duder right now, who started out 10th. He had a really good pace last week, and then got wrecked out when he was almost I believe top 3 halfway through the race. Watching him, he's been pretty quick. He's catching up all these guys. He's passed up 4 guys now, and he's got the winner of last week, Justin Hall, right in front of him.
Yeah, Justin Hall sliding back a little bit. He must have gotten sucked off into the grass or something to drop all the way back into that 5th spot. The leader right now is Garrett Powell in the Audi. And this is your battle right now. Oh, here we go. We can see what happened to Justin Hall here.
Might have some damage. It looks like he was a little slow coming into that corner as well. Let's see what happens here.
Here he comes into the spoon at turn 13. This can be a little hairy sometimes. It just gets on the rumble strips and just spins out.
A little bit of ice on the outside there, feels like it sometimes.
And it looked like Duder had to check up as well. So it caused Duder to slow back just a little bit. But we're on board right now with Duder in the 103, trying to reel in that Augustine Castro in the 4th spot. But he's got a whole rear view mirror of Justin Hall, your winner from last week. Here comes that section again. He gets up on that rumble strip and able to keep that back end underneath it. And here they come down the back straight. A great view from the bumper from Justin Hall's car. You can see the acceleration that these GT3s put in. Here comes in your favorite turn, Dre, at 130R. Let's see how fast these GT3s can get through here.
Yeah, I was interested to see what he's hitting here. 158 going into the turn. Wow, that's actually really, really fast for these cars. He's not gaining too much speed. Wonder if he's got some kind of issue going on. I thought he would have pulled on Duder a little bit there, but it looks like he's coming out of this corner a little faster than Duder. This might be a good turn coming into turn 1 for Justin Hall to kind of make up a spot after losing 5 spots after leading this race for a couple laps.
We're coming just about the 8:30 mark right now, guys, so we still got probably at least 12-15 minutes until these guys think about pit stops so that they can make the rest of the race. Right now we're on board with the number 24 of Brandon Johnson in the 7th spot. Coming through the S's, this is such an amazing view. I mean, it's one thing to drive the cars and you're in this view, but when you're watching, it's a completely different view of being able to see the banking and just the track and the crest of the hill right here coming into turn 7.
I agree with you, Mike. This is one of my favorite camera angles in iRacing. So I love seeing this one, especially when a battle is coming out. You get a really good view of kind of what the driver's doing and what kind of inputs they're putting into the vehicle.
So we're able to actually see Hall here. He's trying to get right on the back of Matthew Duder, and they're right behind Augustine Castro coming out of the hairpin turn 11 into turn 12 right now. Hall just trying to look for a place to get by Duder, but Duder's trying to get by Castro. Looks like Aubrey Kundrell is able to pull away from Castro just a little bit. So your top 3 cars are starting to pull away from the field. But your closest battle right now is for 4th, 5th, and 6th. We're back on board with Duder from the back bumper. That livery on Hall's car looks amazing. That chrome on that purple looks really good coming down that straightaway.
I took a picture of his car earlier. That thing's shining pretty well on this track today. The sun is shining out. We're still early morning. Let's see. Matthew Duder might go take it inside here on 130R onto Augustine Castro. Heading into turn 11, and they're going to wreck. Oh, really bad wreck there, heading almost into turn 16. Interesting to see what happened there. See if we can replay.
Looked like Castro sucked off into the dirt early there. He got off of the dirt there. And coming into the 130, he gets back into the grass out here. And it looks like, yep, there it goes, coming off that, just getting a little high on those rumble strips and a little too fast, and gets sideways, and Duder just plows right into his door.
Oh, that's unfortunate to see. Duder was having such a good race. He made up a lot of spots to get where he's at. I know I talked to him after the race last week. He was upset of, obviously, DNQing last week as well. So, hopefully he can get 2 rough weeks. The guy is pretty quick out here, and I'd love to see him get a clean race in just to see what he can do.
Yeah, that is a tough break for Matthew Duder. So right now, you've got out in front of the GT3 class, we do have Garrett Powell And Garrett has opened up to a 2.5-second advantage on Christian Gritsko. That Audi's working good right now for Powell. In that second spot is Christian Gritsko in that white and blue BMW.
Powell's opened up a pretty nice gap as well. He's got 1.7 gap over Gritsko as well.
Yes, so the top two are really starting to pull away. Powell and Gritsko are pulling away. Then you got about 4 seconds back to the third place car, the Mercedes of Braden Carroll, car number 74. And about 2 seconds behind him is Justin Hall, sitting back there just lurking right now. He was your early race leader, ends up spinning out, coming out of that spoon turn and falling all the way back. Running in the 5th spot. They're going to jump up into the LMP class. Out in front, you still got your leader from last week. Shane Larson starting to come through some lap traffic. The 117 pulling away right now. He's got a 2-second advantage on Colin Arnold. Looks like
30 yards is going to be interesting with traffic. He's able to get to the inside there and pass up Colin Arnold in the GT3. It's going to be interesting now as we see these. We got another somebody heading off the road there. Yeah, Steve Knight. Looks like something happened right before, no, actually into 130R. He just gets hit. Wow,
may have got tapped by that second place car of Colin Arnold. Oh, we got another wreck. Gary Schilling also getting into the wreck.
We haven't talked about it enough, but we talked about 130R and heading into this hairpin, to the hairpin right before that front straight. It's gonna be a mess. That's just unfortunate. Little contact there, get them both off the track.
Yeah, the track really tightens up right in there coming into that chicane and causes all kinds of havoc. As we're on board with the 7th place car of Big Emmy, the 499 car coming. Where are we at of the S's right now? Trying to pick his way through the lap traffic.
Wonder if the track temperatures are still a little cool. These guys are a lot of cars coming off track right now. They're gonna have to kind of reel it back in a little bit, it seems.
Meisel was off track last time. He ended up dropping back 3 places right now, back into the 7th spot. But we're still on board with Nick, the 499. He is trying to reel in Justin Pereira in the 5th spot. And right ahead of Justin is Tyler Davila. They got a lap car they're dealing with. They get through it nice and clean as they're coming into the spoon turn right now in 13 and heading down the back straightaway.
Got Billy Bowerman in 6th place in the GT3 right now. He started off, I think, in 11th spot. Just been patient, missing the wrecks that are happening in front of him, has moved up into that 6th spot. So good on Billy there in the number 102 BMW.
I've known Billy for quite a few years, and he's been putting a lot of time in right now to get better at this craft. And he is getting faster and faster. And one of these days, I'm going to have to watch out for him because he's going to come up and surpass me real easily. As they're coming into turn 1 and 2, this turn is so brutal and crucial to get into the S's. Billy gets a little hot coming into the center section, but we've got LMPs cutting through. So Billy does the right thing and lets them LMPs through, and then resumes his battle. He closes back in on that back bumper of Brandon Johnson, sorry. Brandon right ahead of him in the Audi. This is the battle for the 5th and 6th spot in the GT3 class. We're at the 15-minute mark, 15 minutes down and 25 minutes still to go. So first wave of pit stops could be coming up in the next 5-10 minutes.
I'll tell you what, this Audi is very good at this track. As you can see, the leader right now in the Audi, and Brandon Johnson in 5th place in the Audi as well. So these guys are really competing well with that vehicle. Used this car here before, and it just feels really well. There's a lot of liftoff oversteer that you're going to get from the car as well. As long as you can control that and get back on the throttle early enough, these guys are going to be pretty quick today.
And I tried the Audi earlier in the week, trying just a little test drive here, and I about died every other turn. So the Audi did not agree with me around here, but I was able to get into the 158s with a McLaren. You know, I like being like Diego out there in that McLaren.
Yeah, the McLaren, I don't think we have too many, but 2 guys in the McLaren right now, one running 9th, and that's going to be Andrew Guyderick, running in the McLaren 9th place right now, 17 seconds behind the leader. It's going to be Interesting to see. The McLaren, I don't know if it's a great car for this track. I just feel like that the Audi and the BMW just feel really, really good here. But then we also have Braden Carroll in that Mercedes rounding out that top 3.
Here we are on board with Tyler Davila. Dropped back just a little bit from Justin Barrera while they were coming through lap traffic. So he's about a second and a half back right now as they're coming into turns 1 and 2. Going to be interesting as they're coming up on some more lap traffic to see how good Barrera can get through. Here comes Tyler reeling him in. Very small amounts coming in here. And it looks like they're coming up on Justin Hall to get him a lap down. And Justin is out there battling right now with Braden Carroll. So you got 2 battles. Oh, we got your leader sideways.
Yeah,
wow.
well, Christian Gritzko just made a move, and I just saw Garrett Powell lose some spots. So people do a replay here on Garrett Powell and see what happens to him. Is he going to get any contact with the LMP2s? Oh, he gets on the outside, hits the grass, and loses it. Does he save the car? Looks like he does. As we know, the turning radius isn't super tight on these vehicles, so sometimes hard to get out of those sticky situations.
That drops him all the way back to the 3rd spot. 12 seconds behind Gritzko now, but he's got a whole rear full of Justin Hall. These 2 guys have been battling out earlier in the race. Both of them have now spun and dropped back to the 3rd and 4th spot. Yeah, Will Coffey cutting through him on some lap traffic coming around the spoon, turning onto the back straightaway. Will Coffey still sitting in that 9th spot in the LMP class. Comes your battle right now. There's Billy Bowerman, not too far back from these guys. On board with Kansas Gentry, running the 10th spot in the LMPs, watching this battle right ahead of him. That is Hall and Powell coming into the chicane and down the front straightaway here. This is going to be that battle for that 3rd and 4th spot in GT3. As Kansas goes on the inside and put him a lap down. Watch that battle as we pull away in Gentry's car. Hall looking for a place to get by. Can't quite get enough draft to come into that turns 1 and 2. Gets a little high in there. Oh, gets a little hairy, and Hall spins out again.
Yeah, the track temperatures must be pretty low. These guys are not getting much grip out there. They're going to have to adjust a little bit to that, so they're not spinning out all the time. Heading a lot of these corners, especially a lot of these high-speed corners, where you're going to need that mechanical grip there.
We're coming up on 19 minutes down, closing in on halfway point. Garrett Powell sitting in that 3rd spot. Braden Johnson in 4th. Billy Bowerman up into the 5th spot. Billy started in the 11th spot. He's worked his way up in the Empire Racing BMW. Then you got Justin Hall in the 6th spot. Jake Luther in the 7th spot, right behind him. Jay Fuller not too far back. And Andrew Gredrick in the 9th spot.
Yeah, let's have them take a look at some of the guys in the back of the class right now. Maybe look at Bradley Alvis here in the 35th position, or 24th in the GT3, just to see where they're at in relation to the guys ahead of them. They're fighting though. Looks like Alvis is still out here doing his thing in the BMW. Really neat livery there as well. And he's going to have DiGiacomo right behind him as well. Not too far behind. We'll see if some of these back markers can make their way up the field as we get almost halfway here at round 2 WSRL.
Looked like the LMP car leaders were in the pits right now, so it looks like they were making it just to the halfway point. Here comes a plethora of LMPs.
Larson gets in and he gets out pretty quickly. He's going to still carry that 4-second gap over Colin Arnold. Colin's going to need to try to find some moves here to catch him. It's going to be difficult. Shane's had a tight race as he did last week as well.
On board with Larson right now, coming through the S's on his pit out. He has been in control this entire race. He was in good control last week as well. So this could be a definite title contender guy right here to watch out for. I mean, granted, we're only in week number 2 and anything can happen, especially with some of those street horses coming up. Coming up on the lap traffic right now. Gets through him nice and clean. so courteous, he blinks for him when he goes by. I don't think that was on purpose, though.
We gotta talk about that. That's one of the worst things. Unfortunate, we are in a simulator. You got guys around the world racing each other, and sometimes you get that, and it can really throw you off, especially when they blink back in. The car starts to bounce around, and you think something's wrong with the car, but in their eyes, nothing's wrong. So that's always fun to see.
So that is your leader in the GT3 class, Christian Gritsko. We haven't really talked a whole lot about Christian, especially in the last race. He just kind of was in there and just running along with these guys, but he is out front and has an almost 8-second advantage now on Braden Carroll. Gritsko has been able to take advantage of these guys spinning out earlier in the race, and he has been able to hide and pull away from these guys. We'll have to see what happens with pit stops in the GT3s as they come in a little bit later. Oh, speaking of that, here comes your leader, Christian Gritsko in the 91, coming in for his first pit stop.
That's going to be interesting, and we also got Braden Carroll following right behind him. I was hoping maybe they would get just a couple minutes further in, but it looks like they're going to have to start pitting. It's going to be real interesting to see if these guys can make it to the end of the race. We're at 22 minutes and 40. They're going to be pushing really hard for these last 18 minutes of the race. It's going to be fun to watch. These guys are coming out of a lot of GT3s coming in now.
Look at that, Billy Bowerman out in front, gets a little sideways in 1 and 2. That's always been one of my worst turns on this track, is getting through there clean. But Bowerman out in front, and then you've got Kevin Ayers in the second spot, about 8 seconds back in second. Gritsko is able to rejoin the track in third, about 17 seconds behind Bowerman. Carroll rejoining the race after his pit stop in the 4th spot, and Bucci in the 5th spot.
Billy Bowerman right now holding on to first place as he has not pitted yet. Now we're going to look at over here Jeremy Bucci, who's currently in 5th place in that number 73 Mercedes. He's going to be 3 seconds right now behind Braden Carroll. 3rd place we got Christian Gritsko. And ahead of him, also Kevin Ayers, who hasn't pitted. And then our leader right now, Billy Bowerman, the 6-second gap. He actually might be able to, I don't know what the pit stop times are here at Suzuka, but it's going to be interesting to see what he comes out of where he comes back out after the pits.
We've got Aubrey Condell off into the grass, another car spinning out off the track. Luckily, there's nobody behind him, and he's able to get back out off the track. Let's see what happened. From what I saw, it looked like he just kind of sucked a tire off into the grass and just started spinning. Super slow-mo coming into what looks to be 13. Yep, just gets it a little out. Maybe he tried to get a little high to go around that lap car and just pushed it out a little too far. Oh, we got another GT3 car, Joshua Benjamin, off the track, coming into the chicane. Overcooks it and just misses that chicane. Having to do a slowdown here to get out and rejoin the track.
Nice safe rejoin there. We've lost a couple guys for this whole. Billy Bowerman right now into the pits. Let's see where he comes out of the pits. Aubrey Kundle into the pits as well in the LMP2 in the wrong stuff car.
Looks like Ayers, second place, but was running second place in GT3, is also in the pits. But right now we're on board with car number 3, third place car number 82 of Luke Mann. Luke is still about 2 seconds behind Colin Arnold in the 3rd spot in the LMP class.
Yeah, Luke had a really nice race last week at Catalunya as well. I think he rounded out the top 5. I think he might have actually been 2nd place. I don't have the standings right in front of me, but he had a really good race. But right now, Shane Larson has a 5-second gap in the LMP2s. I think the only way they're going to catch him today if he makes a mistake somewhere.
Yeah, it looks like Larson is the only car to run a 1:45 lap run right now, so he's out in front for that fast lap in LMP class. Like you said, he is done checked out. 5-second advantage on Colin Arnold. Man in that 3rd spot. Big Evie running in 4th. Evie's about 13 seconds behind Mann as we're still on board with him in the S's. Here comes Evie now down the front straightaway, so that is your full gap from 3rd to 4th. pretty much the whole S section and then some.
Yeah, the LMP2 field has really spread out a lot more than I thought it was going to this race. In practice, the times were really, really consistent, really close. But right now, the gap is pretty large past that top 3.
Yeah, there you got Ebby running in the 4th spot. Running in the 5th spot in the LMP class is going to be Justin Barrera in the 419. Justin is about 4 seconds behind Nick. Running in the 6th spot right now, we've got Samuel Measle in the 88 car. Right behind him is a battle for that 6th and 7th spot. You've got Tyler Davila running in the 7th spot. There's 2 guys battling out coming into the hairpin right now.
Into the hairpin. Does Tyler gain any ground on him? Doesn't look like he does. Measle gets a really good exit on that one. I'd like to stick with Tyler here, see if he can make any moves, especially coming up into these fast lefts and then into 130R. A little bit of time there, see if he gets a good exit here. See if he can get any toe down this back straight. On board, a beautiful shot here with Tyler.
Tyler really wasn't trying to tuck into that draft very well. It looks like he was trying to stay up high. Oh, gets into that rumble strip where I already saw a couple cars spin out there. But he's able to bring it back into the chicane and down the front straight. So that's your battle for 6th and 7th. Back in the 8th spot right now, we've got Jamie Southwell in the 304 car. Not too far back, so if there's any kind of mistake from Measle and Davila, Southwell's looking for a place to capitalize on these guys.
Yeah, Jamie coming from the UK, he's the only driver that we have across the pond just because it is a early morning race for Jamie, but he's pretty dedicated to his racecraft. So I'm hoping to see him start getting a little faster here with in the LMP2. I know he's a GT3 driver, so hopefully we can see him gain some time.
Nice. In the 9th spot, Mr. Will Coffey in the 57 car. Will's about 11 seconds behind Jamie. And rounding out the field in the LMP class right now, in the 10th spot, we've got Kansas Gentry. Kansas is about 4 seconds behind Will Coffey. Looks like we already had one retirement in the LMP as Aubrey Kundal is pulled out and is off the track. Looks like Will Coffey off the track there, right there. That's going to drop him back to the 10th spot. Gentry working his way up into 9th right now. Will's been struggling a little bit this race. I'm not sure what's going on with Will. I don't know if it's just not comfortable right now. Pushes a little bit, catches that lap car. Looks like Joshua Benjamin, his good old buddy, just pushed him to the outside, and Will got onto the grass and off the track.
Yeah, unfortunately with Will, he's been struggling today. He had a decent qualifying. I think he qualified mid-pack 5th place. He's now going to be in that last position in the LMP2s as we have lost Aubrey Kundal for the rest of this race after he's made a couple crashes into the wall, and after using his first fast repair, ended up retiring for the race.
So we'll go back up into the GT3 class. Out in front in GT3 is Christian Gritsko. Christian, there we go. Christian in the blue and white BMW car 91, 498 racing out in front. It's got a 10-second advantage already on Braden Carroll. Braden in the number 74 Mercedes. Running in the 3rd spot in the GT3 class is Garrett Powell. Garrett looks to be about 5 seconds. He's able to recover from his early spin. And it's about 5 seconds behind your 2nd place car, trying to work his way back in. His last lap time was a full second faster than Braden, so we'll have to keep an eye on it. But then he just completely blows turn 13 and ends up off the track. Going to lose a little bit of speed down the back straightaway. That could give a chance for Brandon Johnson to reel him in. That 4th place car, that other Audi out there, trying to reel him in. In the 5th spot, you've got Justin Hall in a BMW after his early 2 recoveries that he's had to make, and he's still able to run in that top 5 spot. Right behind him is Jay Fuller in the car number 13, the top running Ferrari right now, and it's actually the only Ferrari in the field laying it down for those Italians right now in the 6th spot. In the 7th spot, Billy Bowerman still hanging on up there in that top 7 spot. He is doing a great job right now in that BMW. We'll go back into that 8th spot. We've got Jake Luther in the 8th spot in car number 19. We got some LMPs coming in to lap him. And then he's got right behind him Andrew in the McLaren, trying to battle it out. So you've got Jake that's just trying to hold his line to let them LMP's cars come by. And then here comes Andrew closing in right on his back bumpers. They're coming out of the S's into turn 7. Go on board with Andrew coming into turn 8 and 9 right now to see if he can make a move, maybe coming into that hairpin. Looks like Jake did a whole lot of rumble strips right there and is able to hang on to it. Andrew not able to close that gap too much right now as they're coming into their hairpin. See if we can close back in. Good hard braking from the McLaren, but he ends up pushing high just a little bit as he gets a good run off of him to coming down into turn number 12. That big, long right-hander that's going to lead into the spoon. Let's see what can happen right here. What do you think, Trey? How are we going to do this?
It's going to be interesting to see if these guys are going to be able to hold it. I'm excited to see these two cars headed to 130R, especially if Andrew can get a really good exit here and make a move on Jake in the BMW. So let's see what happens here. We also have Kevin Ayers not too far behind, and obviously Castro not too far behind there as well, making his way back up the field after an unfortunate incident earlier. But here we go into 130R. We got Andrew right in the tail of Jake Luther. He lets off a little bit just to make sure that he doesn't make a mistake here. Heading into the final 2 turns.
Oh, and
they bump. Wow. That was interesting. I haven't seen too many accidents heading into those final 2 corners, 16 and 17, or 15 and 16, my apology. That was interesting to see, and we got looks like Colin Arnold there, Shane Larson, making his way through the field as well.
But the benefactor of that incident right there, car number 33 of Kevin Ayers. He's able to jump up and jump past both those guys as they tangle coming into the chicane to get up into the 8th spot. But Ayers has got Andrew all behind him now. Hopefully there's not too much aero damage on that McLaren to see if he can get back up and get by Ayers. In the 10th spot now is Jake Luther falling back down into that 10th.
We haven't talked much about the past top 10, but if we look at Bjorn Stange here in the 11th spot in that number 2 Mercedes, he's just hanging around here, hanging on to that 10th or 11th spot. And then we're going to have Kevin Medina in that 12th spot in the number 18 BMW. We're going to head over to also check out Andrew Krostecki in 13th in the 46 Mercedes, hanging around. Eric Galetsky in 14th place. Diego Era unfortunately had a major mistake earlier, and he's dropped down to 15th. We also have Dominic Angelecchio in the number 112 Mercedes. Chris Foss, 17th in that Mercedes as well. Looks like Castro might have made a mistake and dropped down into that 18th spot. Jeremy Bucci, 19th. Zach Robinson in 20th.
Closing in on 5 minutes to go. All battles are, the top cars are starting to really spread out right now, so we can jump back up into the LMP class. You still have Shane Larson out in front. He has that 2.5 second advantage on Colin Arnold. He's
The
been able
gap
to
has definitely closed up a little bit there. Sorry to interrupt, but the gap has definitely closed up. I think it was almost a 5-second gap at one point.
But the last lap for Shane was a 146.5, and Colin had a 148.2. So it was a lot closer than it is now. But must have been traffic getting in Colin's way. I'm not sure. But you still got Colin running in that second spot. Right behind him, though, you've got Luke. Man, that's going to be a battle for second and third right now. So you got 2 seconds back to your lead, the second place car. And then right behind him is that all black car 82 of Luke Mann. We got 4 minutes to go for these guys. Could be a battle for that second and third spot.
And Luke qualified third. He is currently third He has held on to that spot pretty well. He's going to be right behind Colin Arnold. They hopefully, Colin might be pulling Luke a little bit along here to catch up to Shane. See if they can give Shane a little bit of some trouble here heading into the final couple minutes here at the WSRL. We also got some big movers. If you look at the GT3s, Jay Fuller's made 10 spots up. So has Kevin Ayers and Eric Letsky. Both have made 10 spots up today. So they are the biggest movers of the day in the GT3 class.
Here is your battle right now. We're on board with Kevin Ayers in the 9th spot. Andrew right behind him in the McLaren. Down the back straight they come. Let's see if Andrew can get a run on him coming into that 130R.
Hopefully they'll tangle again heading into 15 and 16.
That turn can be so hairy with no arrow, with the front car on you. But
a little up and under move right there by Andrew. That's going to give him a really good boost coming off the final corner, heading onto that front straight. Let's see if he's got that toe to pull him along. See if he can make this move onto corner number 1, that fast right-handed sweeper heading into another hard braking zone into the turn number 2. He's going to let off, actually. I think he had a chance there, I think, to make that move, but he was patient and is waiting for maybe Kevin to make a mistake here.
Looks like we might have a battle for the 3rd and 4th spot right now between Justin Hall and Garrett Powell. Or is that Jay Fuller? Looks like Powell and Fuller battling it out right here.
Yeah, Garrett Powell made some moves back up. He had that unfortunate accident as well, but he's moved back up in 4th place after kind of holding that 2nd spot and then having 1st for a couple laps until, I think, getting involved with an LMP2 early in the race. So he's been really, really strong.
2 minutes to go. 2 minutes left. Let's see where our LMP leader is right now in relationship to the time left on track. Shane Larson out in front comes by. And I think we're going to go one more lap, but we've got a battle right now. Your top 3 cars are side by side coming into turns 1 and 2. Colin Arnold now taking over the lead. It is a side-by-side battle coming into the S's right now, and you've got a 3-way battle right now for the lead. Arnold, Larson, and Mann duking it out as they're coming out of the S's and into turn 7.
Holy cow, this is absolutely exciting. Luke Mann got really close as Colin and Shane were fighting, and Colin Arnold now has the lead over Shane Larson. We talked about this earlier. We did not think anybody was going to catch Shane, and right now Colin Arnold has a 2-second gap, and Luke Mann is right behind Shane as well as we go on board with Shane to see if he can make this inside move heading into turn number 11. That tight left-hander, and he's gonna still be behind Colin here heading into Spoon. Oh man, this race is getting exciting with just a minute and a half left. I'm sorry, 30 seconds left, so a full lap after this probably as we go. Joshua Benjamin off the track as well in the GT3, both cars.
Arnold dropping back to 3rd on that Spoon turn. He's able to pull back up into the 2nd spot. Your top 3 cars still battling it out coming into that 130R. Larson out
and Luke Mann with the move on the inside also passes up Colin Arnold. What a move right there by Luke.
Into the chicane. Is this going to be their last lap with 5 seconds to go? Oh, and they're having to pit on their last lap to get enough fuel.
We talked about it earlier. I was talking to Will Coffey, and he was saying, are these cars going to be able to go one pit stop? And they're not. And this looks like this might give it to Luke Mann here to finish this race. We'll see if he can make it past the start finish with actual fuel in his vehicle. It's going to be interesting to see.
So this is the white flag for the field right now. You've got Luke Mann out in front. He's trying to milk it around on this last lap. Can you imagine what the nerves feel like behind him right now, behind that steering wheel, trying to come around for that one last lap?
And he's been so patient today as well. If he can hold this off, this is going to be an absolute upset here, the LMP2 class here. just an amazing race by Luke, super patient and just making his moves when he need to and doing the correct fuel savings, looks like he could here, or took enough fuel. I'm not sure. I can't wait to talk to him as long as he finishes this race. It's going to be interesting to talk to him and see how this all worked out for him with the fuel strategy.
Let's go on in car coming down the back straightaway. Let's see if he has to lift coming into this back straightaway section, and see if he's having to feather this throttle at all. Sounds like he is still on it. Lifts a little bit to stay behind the lap car. He just wants to stay clean behind the lap car, I think. He lifts there, come through the chicane here. Out in front, Luke Mann coming through the chicane and gonna come down the front straightaway. And Luke Mann is gonna take the win in race number 2 here at Suzuka and the WSRL race number 2. In the second spot, we got Colin Arnold, your early leader in that 72 car. Coming through the chicane right now. He will finish in second. Not sure where that was, but we'll see. So, out in front in the GT3 class, Christian Gritzko still out in front, coming out of the 130R turn right now, coming into the chicane for that one final time. He's got a 16-second advantage right now. Christian has done a masterful job in his BMW, flashing them lights down the front straightaway, takes the win in round number 2. In the second spot, you still have Justin Hall.
What a move for Justin Hall after a couple mistakes to get second place. That's going to be huge for him in the standings.
Carroll all over his back bumper coming down the front straightaway. Can he make one last move down the front straightaway? Tries to get that draft down the straightaway and is not able to make that move. So Hall able to hang on. Carroll ends up in third. Powell in fourth. Johnson in fifth. Fuller in sixth. Billy Bowerman hanging on to that 7th spot right now as he comes down the straightaway one final time. Andrew ends up in the 8th spot. Kevin Ayers ends up in 9th as we watch the rest of the field come down the front straightaway. What a great finish in that LMP class.
That was an amazing finish. So I was hoping for this track. This is why we picked this track. We thought it was going to be a little closer, and it ended up being really, really close. And Luke Mann finishing first place. That is absolutely insane. What a race today in the LMP2 class. And some big changes over in the GT3 too, as Christian Gritzko finishes out first place. But got to give credit to Justin Hall, making some mistakes. I think dropping down almost to 7th place and moving his way back up into that 2nd place spot.
As we watch the rest of the field trickle down the front straightaway and finish their race. And let's look up at our fast times. You want to do our fast laps there, Dre?
Absolutely. We're going to head over to that LMP2 class, and our fastest driver today with the fastest lap, who's going to get an extra point as well. All brought to you by Into the Apex podcast. And that's going to be Luke Mann. I'm sorry, no, I apologize. It's going to be Shane Larson with that 145.81. He's going to lead that LMP2 class. We're going to move over here to the GT3 class. And it looks like the fastest lap out of GT3 is going to be, looks like a tie. Both Christian, I'm sorry, no, once again, my mistake there. Justin Hall with the 158.01. He's going to get that extra point. So he's only going to be 1 point behind after this round, or for this round. And he's going to keep that lead heading into round number 3 next week.
So here's our finishing results in the LMP class. Taking the win in a very energetic fashion. Luke Mann taking the win, finishing in the 2nd spot. Colin Arnold. Shane Larson ends up in 3rd. Nick Ebby in 4th. Finishing in the 5th spot, Jamie Southwell. In the 6th spot, Tyler Davila. Will Coffey able to work his way back up into that 7th spot. Aubrey Kundrell finishing in 8th. Kansas Gentry finishing in 9th. And Justin Barrera ends up in 10th. Take the GT3s there,
Dre, yeah, my name is Dre. GT3s, we're going to be looking at Christian Gritzko rounding out that first front spot, Justin Hall in 2nd place, Braden Carroll in 3rd, Brandon Johnson 4th, Jay Fuller in 5th, Billy Bowerman 6th, Andrew Gajardek in 6th, or sorry, eighth, and we're gonna have yeah, we're gonna move along. Is there's uh, where are we at here? So we're gonna be Jay Fuller gonna be in yeah, sorry. So Jay Fuller in sixth place in his class, and then seventh is Billy Bowerman, followed by Andrew Gallardi, Kevin Ayers, Jake Luther, Bjorn Stange, Kevin Madeda, Andrew Korostecki, Eric Letsky, Diego Era, Dominic Ancholetto, Augustine Castro, Chris Foss, Zach Robinson, Jeremy Bushi, Bradley Alvis, Lilac Zier, Matthew Duder, Kent Michael, Gary Schilling, Joshua Benjamin, Samuel Measle, Zachary Sternhagen, Brett Diacamillo, and Steve Knight rounding out your GT3s.
Well, it looks like we have our winner in the LMP class sitting in the interview room. I think it's time to bring him in and find out what the heck happened. Luke Man, your winner in the LMP class. Luke, what a masterful job you had. What a battle you guys had with 2 laps to go. Give us your insight on what you saw on that 2 laps to go run.
Yeah, no, that was a pretty crazy race as a whole. It was gonna be tough with fuel for the start. My teammate and I were going over that basically at the start that we didn't have quite enough fuel really to get it to the end without some saving. And so we did the first stint, we made it 11 laps, and I knew I'd have to do a bunch of fuel save in the second stint to get to the end. So in doing that, I kind of dropped off the 2 liters a little bit, and I was like, "Oh boy, I hope they're not this fast. Like, I hope they're not fuel saving." And so I was pretty much banking on them running out of fuel essentially. That was my whole strategy through the second stint there. So, yeah, towards the end, I'm not sure what happened with the leader, if he got a slowdown or just caught up in traffic. But we all sort of bunched up and had a great battle, and at that point, I was good enough on fuel that I could battle. So I sort of we had a really good fight. It's tricky offline because at Suzuka going 2 by 2, there's, like, not a ton of grip off the main racing line, so that definitely made it interesting. But yeah, it was a really good battle, and we were coming onto the last lap, and then I saw in my mirrors they both pit, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is crazy." And so then, yeah, that was probably the slowest last lap of my life, just trying to coast across the line. But
Luke,
yeah, no, that was bonkers.
Luke, you did a fantastic job. You were just there the entire race. We kept coming back to you, and you're always sitting in that third spot or so, and you were just within striking distance. And it just proves that just hanging on and sticking to your game plan, you're able to take that win. Have you won a league race before? What do you think of? How does it feel right now?
Yeah, I mean, I've had a couple wins in the past, but this is obviously my first WSRL win. So, I mean, this feels especially great, because of how tricky these races are with 40 cars. I think we're in this race, and tons of GT3 traffic always makes it interesting. So, there's a lot of variables that go into having success in this league, and so yeah, it feels great to get the win. That was awesome.
Hey,
So,
Luke, congratulations. Sorry to interrupt you, Mike. This is Dre over here from the wrong stuff. Congratulations today. What a race. Can you talk about what you use for, your fuel saving? Because it just seemed like that they were trying to, especially Shane, looked like late in that race, he was fuel saving really hard, and it was just really slowing him down. I think that's what was able for you and Colin to kind of make those moves on Shane. What kind of strategies did you use for fuel saving?
Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing for me was knowing I needed to fuel save as soon as I exited the pits, basically. Like, so I was essentially just fully lifting and coasting, like pretty much twice the length of my braking zone into like turn one, into spoon, into the chicane and the hairpin, like everywhere that I could fuel save without losing too much time. I was like lifting super early and then braking as late as I could. And so I think it was pretty much just that I had known to do that from the start of the stint that was able to get it done, because I think Shane sort of maybe realized it towards the end, because I saw him slow up a little bit and I was like, oh, maybe he wasn't saving. And so I just got lucky that I took a peek at the at the fuel numbers before I started the race and thought to myself, maybe I'll need to save a little bit. But yeah, it's just basically lifting and coasting throughout the whole stint was sort of my strategy, and I just made it across the line. I think I had point 0.1 gallons crossing the line, so it was close for sure.
Yeah, we were watching down your back straightaway to see if you were lifting down the straightaway, and then you came up on that lap car and you kind of coasted a little bit. And I was like, "Yep, it's getting close." So, congratulations, Luke, on a masterful job. You did a fantastic job to take the win. Do you got anybody you want to thank?
First, I got to thank my teammate Sam for sure. Fast Cactus Racing. He'll be with me for the whole season, so hopefully we can get more of these together. And otherwise, I don't know, no sponsors yet. So when I get some, I'll let you guys know. But yeah, for now, that's it. I think.
Awesome, awesome job, Luke. Congratulations, and go enjoy the evening and your win tonight.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. See you next Tuesday.
Sounds like a plan. Uh, that was Luke Mann, your winner of the LMP class tonight. In the interview now room is Christian Gritzko, your winner of the GT3 class. Christian Gritzko, congratulations on the win tonight.
Thanks, guys.
Dre, why don't you get in with Christian here?
Christian, what'd you think about that race? You were kind of patient and holding back there. And how did you stay clean throughout this race to get that first spot tonight?
Well, this track is not one of my favorite tracks, but I knew that the first thing was tire management. Like with all the fast, high-speed turns, like the tires were just gonna get destroyed. So I was just hanging back and letting all the cars in front of me destroy their tires. But unfortunately, I never had a chance to overtake anybody. Everyone just had a mistake in front of me, and I just kind of capitalized on that.
We were just
Yeah, I
watching a
mean,
replay right here when you come by. I think it was Colin Arnold when he spun out right in front of you, and you just barely missed the inside of him. How big of a heart attack did you have when you were coming into that turn there?
Oh, the biggest. If you guys watched it from the cockpit view, you would see that my tire was going in every direction. I don't know which way to go. I didn't know where he was going to settle, so I just kind of took a chance and went to the left.
what a great battle today, man. Just a great race overall by yourself. You stayed patient, just made the right moves and dodging traffic as you could to get that first spot. After 2 rounds, we're going to be heading into Detroit next week. How are you feeling about next week?
I actually like Detroit. It's one of my favorite tracks. I think it's the first track where I got a first win in iRacing 5 years back. I seem to do better at tracks that people hate, so hopefully I can not hit a wall and finish the race, hopefully in the top three.
Yeah, this was a big race for you, man. Now you're going to be up in those top point standings for the season. Now, just heading into our last or to round number 3 next week. But congratulations, man! What a great race for you today.
Thank you so much, guys. And I'd like to have a shout out to my girlfriend for watching, my buddy Mike James, and to everybody on the track. Everyone was respectful, giving each other space, and I really appreciate that.
Great to hear, Christian. Thank you so much, man. Thanks for being involved in the league. Great job today.
Thank you, guys.
Take care.
Bye.
All right, Mike, that's going to do it for us here at the WSRL. On the screen right now, you're going to look at our race results for the pink labeled vehicles there in the LMP2s, and then in the GT3s, and those gray labels on the left as well. What an unbelievable race, Mike. What do you think?
Man, that did not disappoint at all. After watching the race last week and everybody kind of starting to pull away from each other, I was a little concerned with that. But when we started seeing some of the early lap racers, getting off track, spinning out, it really brought the field tight and made for some great battles. And then just like Luke was talking about, that fuel saving, being able to save on fuel and have just barely enough fuel to get by on that last lap to take the win, that just adds to the excitement, and that just adds to how great your league, WSRL, is coming in.
It's starting to really come together. The guys today felt like, a lot of the incidents we saw today weren't, car-on-car incidents. It was just guys making mistakes on track. Probably a cool track. Guys getting off, hitting the grass a little bit. So the racing was clean in general. So it's really good to see these guys starting to really get a feel of these tracks, and excited to see what Christian's going to do next week, especially being his favorite track at Detroit. That could be a mess. Really tight circuit, really fast circuit. It's going to be fun. I cannot wait for next Tuesday night.
Yeah, that is going to be awesome. That is an incredible track, and is one of my favorite tracks as well. So you got anything you want to say on the way out, Dre? You want to take this out?
Sure, why not? Thank you, everybody, so much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed the race. Next week, we are going to be at Detroit on next Tuesday night.
July 26th, Tuesday, WSRL. So for Dre Divac, I am Mike Braun, Ian Fisher, the masterful voice behind the production truck. This has been on behalf of Slow Motion Broadcasting. We'd like to thank you for tuning in to tonight's broadcast of the Wrong Stuff Racing League. Until next week, keep the rubber side down.